All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Ukulele Jumpstart with your host, Ukulenny. Got some audio problems. What? And your special guest, everybody in the Zoom room, make some noise. Zoom one time. Woo! It is a ruckus Wednesday morning. As you can tell, we are on 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I didn't even get to make my cup of coffee. I made breakfast. I put the kid on the cartoons, and here I am. So thanks. I will just live vicariously through you, Mary Jane. Oh yeah, do what you like and like what you do. That's absolutely right. I appreciate that. And that's what we're going to do today. We like playing the ukulele, and we are going to enjoy it today with a little intro to chord melody. I was telling these folks right before we started, this is kind of the graduation of the Ukulele Jumpstart. It's kind of like if consider yourself a beginner ukulele player, you're taking this course, Ukulele Jumpstart. The chord melody is really the combining of all ukulele skills. It's playing the melody and playing the chords. And some people would even say that if you're a singer, chord melody still is it's very important to use your singing voice while you play chord melody. So even if you are used to strumming and singing, don't think that you're not going to be using those skills when you do chord melody. The whole point is to sound like you're singing every note. And so this is kind of like chord melody to me is kind of the upper echelon of what ukulele players want to achieve. Granted, rhythm is hard, strumming is hard, but chord melody kind of combines a lot of different stuff. So a lot of people really dig it. So I have this chord melody worksheet, or workshop rather, and I made that available online via Gumroad. You can check the links for that. Oh yeah, and let's open this waiting room because I keep getting notifications and tell the Zoom bombers not to come today. I'm gonna open the waiting room. Okay, so here is my little spiel, and you can read all this on your own time. But what is chord melody? It's exactly what it sounds like. You play the chords and you play the melody at the same time. So whereas you could do one at a time, like you could play the chords. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Chord melody just takes those two concepts and puts it on the ukulele together. And so, of course, I was doing a little bells and whistles there. I was adding some stuff within that chord melody. But the whole concept is quite simple once you put it together. It's just play the melody, and every time there should be a chord change, kind of play that chord. So that's what we're going to kind of cover. This is kind of like a loose workshop. So rather than really go in depth on teaching you like one chord melody, and I have suggestions for which ones you should probably study, and this packet also includes them. But it's more of a concept of what are you doing when you put these two things together, and what is the thought process? Because for me, I learned a little bit during my classical guitar days at UC Berkeley. I learned a little bit about what it's like to pluck a melody while keeping the bass note going. But really, I learned from reading chord melodies, reading other people's arrangements, and just starting to click with the concept of while I'm playing the melody here, what kind of chords I'm supposed to use. All right, so we're going to go along with this basics part because this is really important for just your tab reading and just your playing in general. And this is the basic exercises. I know if you're a fan of the Ukulele Jumpstart, you've been here before. This is a lot of what I teach. It's just these basic exercises, but it goes without saying that if you do the exercise, if you do the work, you'll get stronger, you'll get faster, you'll get good at doing all the things I'm asking you to do today. So 0, 1, 2, 3, as it is, starting on the A string, we're just gonna play 0, 1, 2, 3, and this is worth it if you've never done exercises like this, to just really make sure you can do 0, 1, 3 really confidently and really well. And there is a kind of levels a kind of set of levels that you try to go through when you do this. You know, when you start, you might be doing something like this. You might be like pretty timid with your fingers. You might be doing something like that. Might sound pretty staccato. But as you practice, you want to refine that sound. You want to say, how long can I hold each note? 0, 1, 2, 3. And I also tell my students to, why don't you time your left hand with when I'm saying 0, 1, 3. Like I'm going 0, 1, 2, 3. That timing that you're getting with the left hand is going to match up with the timing of the right hand. 0, 1, 2, 3. I get a lot of people actually who have studied music before, and they'll get in the habit of subdividing this move. They'll go 0, press, 1, press, 2, press, 3, which is good if you're trying to play it safe, but it doesn't sound good. It's not what you want. You want these left hands to activate at the same time the right hand does, and that's where you get the sound, where we call this in music legato. It's very smooth. And for everybody, these basic exercises, once you read them, you know how to do them. 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. You can memorize that. You can do that every day. You can actually mix it up. Try this one. 3, 2, 0, 1. 3, 2, 0, 1. 3, 2, 0, 1, 3, 2, 0, 1, 3, 2, 0, 1. Getting good at kind of manipulating how you read the numbers is really good for tab reading. But once you have the exercise down, it's all a matter of refining that exercise to sound like music. If you can make 0, 1, 2, 3 sound like music, you can make anything sound like music. It's like when you say that really good singers could sing the phone book and make a record. That's what you want to do with the exercises. You'd be like, this is a song that I wrote yesterday. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. You want to play on that level, and the only way to do that is to repeat. So there's 0, 1, 2, 3. Always use the same fingers, index, middle, ring for 1, 2, 3. And if you go on, you will also do the same for 1, 2, 3, 4. And another thing is to keep your fingers down while you're practicing. This is really good for keeping your fingers close and having them easy to manipulate versus maybe popping them up while you play. That's going to be really clunky, and it's going to be a little bit better. Man, I see that San Diego Union Tribune over there. That's a throwback for me. I used to read that. All right, then we're going to go to 3, 5, 7. And this is where we talk about position playing. And for the chord melody crowd, we often don't stay in the 1, 2, 3 for various reasons. One, it gets really cluttered and trafficky over here if we're trying to play the melody. Down here while we're playing chords, you can't really make out the chords. So a lot of times we have to go up the neck to kind of spread it out. So 3, 5, 7 is one of my popular positions to play when we're doing C major. And so you're going to put your index finger on 3, middle on 5, and pinky on 7. And that way, when you play these particular notes, you're not reaching for them. You're not wondering what fingers I'm supposed to use. If you see 3, 5, 7 in a song, you should be able to do it fairly quickly. And so practicing these positions, and same thing, once I have 3, 5, 7, I can go kind of backwards, 7, 5, 3. How fast can I do it? You can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on each of these exercises. Just make little melodies for yourself. But controlling that index finger and that middle finger and that pinky to do what you want in this position is also going to help you read tabs a little faster. What else to be said about this? Oh, yeah, I considered this third position. I had some questions over the weekend, like, what is position playing anyway? It's when you have your index finger and you're moving up and down the fretboard wherever your index finger kind of starts is the position. So this is what I call third position. And because I'm stretching my fingers, I would call it third position stretch position. And these are all things you want to memorize. Memorize them like it's baseball season. Memorize them like hand positions on your pitches, you know. Memorize position playing like I should know immediately what my hand should look like. Like in my sleep, I'm like 3, 5, 7. I know what that feels like. So you want to have all these positions really down. Again, the whole point of this is to front load all of your moves so that when you're reading the tabs, you don't have to look down. You don't have to think about what finger you're using. Because if I see 3, 5, 7 in a song, I already know how I'm going to play it. And lastly, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is just 7th position, using all 4 fingers, and just to get a feel for it. It's pretty much the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, except you're up the neck. And what you'll notice as you travel up the neck is that the frets get closer together. So there is a difference between playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. There is a difference there. So, you know, it's worth practicing. You know, if you want to look cool in front of your friends, just exercise in the hallway somewhere and just... just do 1, 2, 3, 4 on every fret. And you could do it fast enough that they might not be able to tell what you're doing. And then you'd be like, wow, how'd you play so many notes so fast? And don't tell them that it's all the same fingers and you're just moving your fingers. Okay, so you can continue to, you know, practice other things. As part of this packet, I try to be pretty all-inclusive of the different positions you will need for the songs in it. So these other useful positions kind of pertain to other songs that you might be playing in the packet. Any questions so far about the basic exercises? Hopefully you got your fingers warmed up. I would do these every day right when I pick up my ukulele in the morning because, you know, you sleep right next to your ukulele, right? You just wake up, you just, oh, there's a uke. And then pick it up and start doing your exercises. Do that before you think about a song. Before you think about what do I want to practice today, like practice these because, you know, sometimes we spend like 10 minutes, 20 minutes just flipping through our book. Oh, I don't know what I feel like playing. Rather than do that, just get in the habit of just putting your fingers to the fretboard, and maybe that will lead you into your practice for the next thing. So maybe after doing that for a little bit, you'll be able to figure out what song you're going to play. You know, it's a good form of noodling. All right, melody playing. You can't spell chord melody without melody. Duh. So playing melodies is vital to bringing it to life. A lot of times I'll have students who will play the tab, and it's like, okay, good, you play the tab. Could you sing the melody for me? And they're like, I don't know what the melody is. That's why you sound like that. That's why you sound like a robot. Like, don't play like a robot. Don't just read the tab. You should know the melody and know what it is. And even as an exercise, like while you're reading the chord melody, see if you can just play the melody of that song. And then the better you can play the melody on its own, of course, the better you can play once you add the chords. I have a question that I didn't address here. Rosemary says, should we switch up right-hand finger picking fingers? This is a very good question. In all of my beginner tutorials and pretty much all of my teaching, I kind of let you decide because everyone's a little different with the finger picking. Some people do only thumb. Some people like to use multiple fingers. So rather than make that a huge issue, I would say whatever your technique and whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you feel like you need to do, go ahead and do that. But that's a really good point that during the exercises is another good time to just warm up some of your finger things. So one thing right off the bat that goes in my mind as a classical guitarist, index middle, and as a bassist, index middle. So a lot of these exercises are broken up into 4 fingers or 4 beats, which makes it really easy. So take 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. I could do index, middle, and then go to the next string, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. So that's kind of nice, is that with the exercise, you can also practice different kinds of finger picking. What I would kind of suggest against, because I know a lot of people, will go on YouTube and will learn this form of finger picking specifically. And a lot of people will say, like, the G is only for your thumb, and the index is only for your C, and the middle is only for your E, and like this. This is great if you're doing arpeggios, if you're doing kind of classical style playing, where you need to isolate multiple fingers. But as far as doing single note melodies, I don't really like playing like that personally. I don't like doing a scale where I'm on the C string, so I'm only using my index, and then I go to the middle and I'm only using, like, I feel like that's kind of a waste of resources. And it's a little confusing for me to think about the melody across 3 different fingers. It's kind of like when you're telling a story one person at a time. You're like, once upon a time, popcorn, and then somebody else tells the story. That's like the 3 fingers telling the one melody story. Sometimes it's a little hard to do that. So I like to go with the thumb, because the thumb is the storyteller for a lot of what I do. And then I will graduate to the thumb and the index. They will collaborate, and then I will add and I will add. But typically for these styles, I just start with the thumb and throw in the index finger here and there. As far as exercises, it's all good. It's like you can never do too many variations of exercise. All right, great. Hopefully that helped. All right, let's go to melody playing now. Hopefully you had a chance to. This is the nice thing about Zoom, is that while I'm talking, if it's not relevant to you, you can just read all the tab. So hopefully you read through some of these. And a lot of them are like position playing, and I even put the fingerings below. But just the way you are. I'm just doing my index finger and my middle pinky. 3, 3, 3, 5, 7. 3, 3, 5, 7, 5, 3, 5, 3. 3, 3, 5, 7, 5, and then I'm reaching my pinky. 8, 7, 3, 5, 3. Couple different ways to handle the ending of that. I did pinky twice just to keep and maintain the idea that we're doing 3, 5, 7 for most of it. So if you go to 8, you're going to go over, and then you're going to come back to 7. So that's kind of a nice way to do it. And I would take this again, but I would try to sing the words. And so try to sing the words with each of the notes and see if you can kind of make that connection early on. When I see your face. Ready, go. When I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. There's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing. 'Cause you're amazing. Reach the pinky just the way you are. Just the way you are. And now do it again, but just do it in your head and listen to that ukulele. Ready, go. There's not. 'Cause you're amazing. All right, and a little head nodding and a little eyebrow and a little closing your eyes will also add to your performance. I had a cello teacher who was like, the song is not in your shoulders. Stop trying to play cello with your shoulders. I'm like, forget you. I'm going to play with my eyebrows, with my shoulders. That's just my style. But the point is, if the song is in your heart, you can inject that into your ukulele. And that's what you want to do every time you play a melody, is really mouth each word. I can tell fairly quickly when people are playing chord melody that they don't actually know the melody, myself included. I've done that too. Where I learned a song for somebody and I'm like, I don't really know the melody. I'll just make it up. But the connection to the melody is going to make it that much sweeter, and you always want to have that at the forefront. Okay, now You Are My Sunshine. That's kind of the same things, and actually we do end up going to the 8 and the 12, and so 12, 10, 8 is maybe something you want to try. Again, 12, 10, 8, you're going to use those same 3 fingers. So 12, 10, 8 is pretty much the same as 3, 5, 7. Everything is 2 fingers, 2 frets apart. Cool. So when you do You Are My Sunshine, you're going to do a little bit of Pinky Olympics just for this part because we're reaching for higher frets. So I'm going to snake my way up. Pinky, and then pinky on 12, And then I'm going to do my little finger position here, same position, 12, 10, 8, and then move back to 1. Or, sorry, 7 with the index finger. All right, and that's how I'm going to handle that part. So as you're reading melodies, this goes just to basic tab reading. You kind of want to break things up into the positions that your hand is going. Because if you just looked at this straight up, you might say, oh, 3, 3. Okay, I'm here. Oh, no, 5, 7. I got to move. Okay, this is fine. And then 8. And then hopefully by then, you can inform your fingers, what to do. But just looking at the numbers, you might not easily decide what fingers to use. It's good to kind of look ahead and say like, oh, you know what? This is all in third position. Everything here can be in third position because there's no numbers below 3. And then I can jump up to what is called 8th position. All right, try to play You Are My Sunshine with me. Let's try the words and the notes because I saw some of you practicing already. Ready, go. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. I should take it down. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. All right, so that's the melody. So as you can see, practice those a couple times because when we add the chords, that's still going to be there. The melody's not going anywhere. All right, so hold that thought. We're going to talk about learning the chords. And when you do a chord melody, again, your kind of algorithm or the process that you're trying to do is you want to take all that melody and just insert the chord below. Insert the chord while you're playing that melody note. And what this is going to entail is playing a lot of chords that you haven't seen before. Because, of course, the basic rules are simple, but where it gets tricky is when you don't know how to combine, say, X note and Y chord. Like I'm playing an 8 and I have to play an F. Do you know how to do that? Here's the F chord, and here's the 8. Well, I can't reach that. I don't know how to do that. So a lot of times you have to find the solutions through other people's arrangements. That's why I say, like, read other people's arrangements, learn from other musicians, but also look at my cheat sheet in this packet because that will give you some ideas as to if I have this note and I have this chord, what am I going to hold? Because it's just not easy to hold just all the basic chords and whatever note you have in the song. So here are some examples, and it's kind of nice. I devised this particular example to also kind of sound like music. So it's a nice thing to practice. So starting with C, we'll see that we have 4 notes stacked. And also for those beginners out there who have just started to read tab, when you have tab that's all the numbers on top of each other, that just means do it at the same time. So every vertical line where the notes are aligned, that means you strum it together. Okay, so now we have a 7 on the A string and everything else is 0. You could do that with your index finger if you want and strum through. Yeah. So you might think, wow, I've never seen this C in a chord book before, but it's still C. In fact, music theory people will know that your C, E, G, which you learned in piano class, is all the top 3 strings of the ukulele. So actually, I could play any note on the A string and still play C. That's why we like to play in C on the ukulele because it's so easy to manipulate with that open chord. So if I had a 7 in the melody and I wanted to play C, I could just hold the 7 and strum through. While we're doing these chords, we're just gonna snap through them really quick. While we're doing this, a bonus technique practice for you is to practice what I consider like chord melody style strumming. You know, if I just saw this in a tab, I might go like this. Just strum it normally, like I would anything. But in chord melody land, I want to hear the melody more than I want to hear the chord. So I kind of want to, if I could volume adjust everything, I would turn the volumes of the top 3 strings down, and I would turn the volume of the A string up. But we don't have that technology yet. I'm sure we do, but I don't have it. So what do you do instead? You do it manually. The way we do this is pretty simple and kind of fun, in my opinion. Take the A string and go ahead and find that 7 and pluck the A string like you normally would. Now, while I'm doing that A string, I'm actually going to just leave my thumb at the top, but I'm not going to think about any of the other strings I'm hitting. I'm just going to think about grabbing that A. If I did it in slow motion, it would be like this. Drag, 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 pluck. Drag, 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 pluck. So I'm really just kind of like letting my hand go through these blades of grass, and then I'm plucking a flower at the end. I'm just like, nope, not the flower I want. Oh, found it. Got it. And that becomes kind of just your overall way you're going to go with the thumb, is that you're going to be really, really quiet on the first 3 strings and just always aim to grab that A string. Yep, and that's the idea there. And then same thing with all these other chords. Now, I put these X's here because if you are a low G player, that open G might not sound right. But for the ukulele players out there, you can actually pretty much get away with that. I still do 5-5-5 and I strum through. But again, if you want to strum through all these, try to grab that A string. Doo, you should hear that at the end. Doo, and then E minor. Doo. This F is my fave. Stole this from Jake Shimabukuro when I was reading his music. 0058. Ah, yes, every time. It's like I know what it sounds like, but every time I play it, I'm like, yes. That is so awesome. Sounds like a string quartet. It's just like playing music with you. And then G, I included the bar chord, just so that you know that these bar chords are very, very helpful when you are doing chord melody. So 7, 7, 7, you bar 7, and you put the pinky on the bottom. This is also a very useful chord, the G7. I call this big G7. Think about little G7, that's the regular. This one starts on the 5th fret and is a little bit spread out, but is the exact same fingers, big G7. And when I'm playing Hawaiian music, it sounds really cool to do G7 and do from the mountain to the ocean, from the windward to the leeward side. I don't know, just an extra G7 there. Sounds really nice. So know this one because it's very, very handy for chord melody. A minor is a really cool one, 7, 8, 9. And there's a really nice bonus of this. This is my first chord of Hotel California. I should not go on because then YouTube will take down this video, so I'm going to stop. Don't play Hotel California on YouTube. The nice thing about this is, especially if you have a low G, especially if you have a high G. I almost caught myself there. Especially if you have a high G. The 0 functions as the 7th. So you actually have A minor 7 in a really, really cool position. So I always like throwing that in for my A minors. Then B flat, you have 3, 1, 2, 3, which is just it's actually a B flat without the bar chord. Without the bar, you can just pop up your 3 fingers and add the pinky like that. And this is actually the Seasons of Love chord. 525,600 minutes. Very cool. Leave your pinky there for the F chord. This one is very, very common because oftentimes we have a C in the melody and we're just playing the F below it. So holding an F and a C, it's like if F and C had a love child. There you go. New F. And for posterity, I wanted to end on C, and I put the 5th fret for that. This is actually C9 and the first chord of Girl from Ipanema. Oh, I forgot that part. Yeah. So it's a nice also chord to end, if you're playing jazz, to end it with. It's kind of cool. So all these chords together, you can practice these. It's not necessary that you practice them, but if you haven't dealt with any of these chords, it might be fun just to. Kind of sounds like an old church chorale, a Bach in the house. So that is the kind of philosophy of what you're gonna do. Is with every melody that you play, you're gonna be given a note that you're gonna have to slap a chord on. So you're gonna have to find some way to put those two things together, and it's not always going to be straightforward. It's not always going to be simple. So that's where your experience comes into play. Now go back to the melodies that we've already played, and you'll see the magic at work. Notice under these notes now, it's the exact same notes. It's just underneath, we put in a bunch of extra stuff. So for the C, I'm doing that 007 that we had before. That's it. And again, if you do that special strum, you're going to get a nice piece of it. Now I'm going to have to jump to the A minor. So I'm going to slap that. And again, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the A minor is like the E minor, right? Hopefully you noticed that. And for this arrangement, you could technically play these notes in a different place. I'm actually going to, just for you, since you're captive audience today, I'm going to also put this, just so that you know. If you wanted to stay in this position, it would just entail you playing the, let's see, make sure it's not going to go too crazy here. You would have to play on the E string 10, 8, 10, 8. So it's like, if I wanted to, I could stay in 7th position. That's what I'm doing. And then play on the E string 10, 8, 10, 8. Yeah, let's see if my close-up cam works. Is this working? Oh, it's not very close. Let me fix that. do, 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 do. Some OBS on the fly. Editing. There we go. All right, so if I was to do that here, here's my diagonal line. And I'm just creeping my 10 here and my 8. 10. So that's something that I do often in my playing, is that if I'm up here in this position, I'll find a way to play the melody somewhere else. But since this is intro to chord melody, I didn't want to go too nuts with that concept. But it's there. I don't want you feeling like I just want to show you that I know stuff. So I just want to put that out there. I didn't just do that. Yeah, because some people would say like, why are you doing this like this? That doesn't seem very convenient. It's mostly for the teaching aspect of it. All right. So anyway, I digress. Chord 5 3 5 3, and then 3 3 5. Here's where I kind of adapted this. Oh, I froze. My bad. I kind of adapted this here. This F chord is really, this is the important F chord, 5 0 0. So I just slapped that on and did it for the 7. And then I did the chord again. And just a regular C chord. Oh, you can't see that on YouTube. There you go. That's it. I just added the stuff below. So I see some of your faces like, what? Yes, that is correct. All you do, and you know, this is, especially for me, I'm a very nerdy ukulele player. I thought I was going to be like a math teacher or a physics teacher or a lab rat or something when I grew up. Ended up being a musician. But the whole numbers game and the numbers system, if you like numbers, and if you don't, I hope you will learn to like numbers. Like, tabs are the best because they really make sense in terms of, if I'm holding this number, well, I should be able to spit out the other numbers that I'm doing. So it becomes a literal game. If you had a chart of melody and all the chords, probabilities, you could do it. So that's what I'm doing for that song. And You Are My Sunshine, if hopefully you've already kind of like dabbled in it just a little bit, you'll notice that the chords are the same. So you have the 7 chord that we used before. We have the 0058 that we did before. There's really nothing different. One thing I like to add, again, because I like to show you that I know things, um, is that for the 12, there's a couple of possibilities. There's 2 possibilities that are really useful. And again, because this is an intro class, I didn't want to include that. But if you take the 12th fret and you make a G shape, 12, 13, 12, and I apologize for the soprano players out there, that creates the same chord. So when I get to this point, you make me happy, and then I can do the G shape 12th fret. Ah, sounds cool, especially with reverb and effects. All right, the other way you can do 12, which a lot of people don't like as much, is basically taking the B flat shape and extending your pinky. So I'm going to go close up here really quick. This is my B flat, and I showed you that B flat with the 3 on the bottom before. And then I can actually technically extend my pinky out to 5. And you can kind of find various ways to hold your hand to do that. And some people are telling me, no, I can't. That's why there's other options. But that's mostly what you're going to be trying to do is to reach your pinky over. That's the shape, a B flat plus a pinky plus 2 frets. It's like the formula. So I can apply this here and do 12, 8, 9, 10. There you go. 12, 8, 9, 10. So if for some reason you don't like to jump to 12, 13, 12, you can also do that. They also sound just a wee bit different. So that's also where your artistry comes to play, because you have the options of playing a high chord, playing a low chord. You have options there to attempt to make your own choices. Being artistic is just about making choices. You're not like necessarily reinventing anything, or maybe you are. But when you're trying to come up with these arrangements, you have some possibilities, and you're going to try to choose your own. So hopefully you can find some different things to choose and play with, and you're able to manipulate those to make your own version. So here's You Are My Sunshine. Hopefully you've played it through and you've recognized all the chords. When I attack a chord melody, I try to, and I try to practice what I preach too, but sometimes it doesn't go like this. Sometimes I open the book and I just go one note at a time, blah, 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 blah. But if I wanted to be really good at, learning the arrangement, maybe I do that once and then I go into learning. When I go into learning, it's all about reading the stacks first. Because let's face it, if you have 4 notes to read, it's harder to read than 1 note, correct? That's just a given. So I'm just going to go through the song and think about all of these chords and try to think about how I'm going to hold each one. And play through them, play through them, and even if you want to sing the song while you're doing this. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Oh, here's that weird F. You make me happy when skies are gray. And a weird F again. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So don't take. Oh, there's that G7. How do you hold that again? Oh yeah, it's like a small G7. And back to regular C. So this is particularly easy, but that's the process that I want to do. That's the process that I want to go for. Is I want to make sure that I can play each of these chords. And if you play a harder chord melody, it'll be more challenging. You'll be like, what is a 2-3-2-3? What is a 7-8-8-8? And you're gonna have to go through and learn those. What is a 9-11-9-10? And you're going to have to process that quickly. So you want to pre-process that so that when I actually play the tune, I'm not going, hold on, 7, 0, 0, 0. Hold on. You don't want to have your practice sound like that. And you want to go slow enough that you can hear the music. Think of yourself playing a toy box, a music box, and going slow enough that you can hear this. So here's You Are My Sunshine. Ready, go. Yay. Beautiful. Don't you feel like in a Zen mode after you do that? I mean, this is why I like chord melody because, I love singing and I love strumming, but there's a time and a place for that. And sometimes I take my ukulele out. I'm just at the beach. I don't want to sing for everybody necessarily. I just want to make music for myself. And this is really where I go. This is my happy place. I just go somewhere with my uke and I'm just playing through the songs that I know and, trying to figure out chord melodies. Like I don't always know how I'm going to do it. So I kind of play through it and play with some of these different chords, and I've come up with a new arrangement. So now you have the power. So what do you do with this information? Well, you can expand it to other songs, of course. And before I go to jazzing up an arrangement, I also like to bring up the chord melody cheat sheet, which I've done in my Monday workshops before. Is that you basically are going to play the melody on the A string for the most part. If you don't, then generally, like say I'm playing a G chord and my melody is on E3 right there. Well, I'm playing the G chord and I have the melody there. Like generally that's gonna happen. So, or you're gonna have to play the chord later or earlier than the melody. And you're gonna have to do something weird if the note happens to be here. But for all intents and purposes, your melody is mostly gonna be on the A string. So if I have an A string and I have a C chord, this is the graph I've been talking about. Then these are my possibilities. Well, if I have a 2, I don't really have to do much else. I just keep my C chord. If I have a 3, I can keep the C chord, or I can do these little bar chords. If I have a 5, I can do the same thing. If I have a 7, I have a couple of options. And I can even do that G shape on the 7th fret. So this becomes not something that necessarily you would want to memorize. This is like your chord dictionary. And it might be something that you want to exercise through too. You'd say like, you know what, I'm interested in learning all the different kinds of E minors. Maybe I'll play through it. And when you are crafting a chord melody, I suggest to everybody, in fact, myself included, what I tend to do is I'll start with the melody and I'll tab it out. I'll write it out on these lines. And I'll just go into, when I do it on a computer, I do it on a Word document and just make all these little lines. And I try to input the numbers. And then I'll just go piece by piece, and underneath I'll try to write the numbers that will correspond. So I'll be like, okay, up next we have the C and we have the 7. Oh gosh, what am I going to put underneath? And then if I don't know the answer, I can go to the cheat sheet and go, well, I have a 7, and oh, look, I have all these choices. Well, I'm going to choose this one because I think it sounds pretty. And that's what I'll put there. So it's like once you have the melody written out, then it's just a fill in the blank. It's really like Mad Libs, which I don't want to take away from the art of it. But it can be that systematic, And just like anything, like, visual art, I think, is a good thing. Like, putting red and yellow together to make orange is systematic. But making the right shade of orange, that's the art. So, start here, and then when you're making your choices, you can go a step further. Okay, let's see. Questions here. Can you show how these alt chords fit it, and do we do the melody there? Yeah, when you're reading these tabs, and hopefully this is answering your question, Mary Jane. When you're doing these tabs, you're generally going to just do it all together. That's why we practice going like this. Because in the middle of our tab, this is exactly how you're supposed to play the song. Every single one of those strums is just like right on the beat, includes the melody. But going on to actually, this is a nice transition because going up to the next idea, jazzing up an arrangement, this is where you can get a little bit more jazzy with it. And the first step is to fill in the blanks. Notice that in just the way you are, I have a blank. Just what do I do with that space? Every time you have a space, well, not every time. You don't have to fill it every time if you want to be dramatic. You can breathe in the middle of that if you want. But if you want to fill the space, then just start picking away at some of the other notes. And the rule of thumb basically is if you're holding the chord, if I'm holding 7-0-0-0, any of those notes are going to sound good. So all I did here was say, okay, I want to do the C again. I want to do the E again. I'm going to make a little arpeggio and kind of add some of these notes. So all you're seeing here is these, I'm highlighting the extra notes that are here. So just a couple of zeros, and then I added this chord to kind of do some more. So I have extra notes now, but everything else is kind of the same. Wanna see your face, pluck, 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 pluck. All I did was just punch away at some extra stuff. And this is where you practicing, doing a little thumb exercises, doing thumb and index finger while you're playing. Maybe even just taking the chords and just futzing away at. Just trying to come up with some patterns of your own. That's what you want to be doing in the middle of the arrangement. So this goes kind of, and it's challenging because we're all focusing on the tough part, which is, reading all this tab. But the kind of expansion of those skills is to make the chord player sound even more like a chord player. Like, chord players are, while they're not singing or while they're not doing the melody, they're doing some pretty rad stuff, It's really hard to do that rad stuff while you're going. But can you do that rad stuff? Can you make it sound more like there's two people at the same time? Because that's part of the illusion that is so alluring. That's why watching Jake play While My Guitar Gently Weeps is amazing. Watching me play it is not. So it's just like he's doing so much more. He's really pushing himself. I think of Tommy Emmanuel, who's one of the best finger-style guitar players out there. It's unreal how many people he sounds like playing one guitar. He's doing the bass and he's sounding exactly like a bass player would do, and he's adding all the other stuff. So that's one way to jazz up the arrangement, is just to add those notes in between. And so I wanted to expand this further. I did a little sound demo to our sponsors, Kala Brand Music. Shout out to my lovely Kala fam in Petaluma, California. I did this video. I did a lot of videos for them. I do kind of their sound samples for their website. Maybe you've seen me on kalabrand.com. And some people were really digging this hound dog chord melody, and I thought, well, I'm not really doing that much in it. And then it sounds complicated, but actually what I'm really doing is pretty simple. So I thought I'd include it in this packet just for a different flavor. Not only are you filling in the blanks here, you're filling in the blanks with a particular pattern. I picked this pattern up from the late Ukulele Mike, who is one of my big influences learning this chord melody stuff. He has so much good stuff on YouTube, and I downloaded his book, and a great library of chord melody exercises and songs. So Ukulele Mike's someone to really look up as well. I think his daughter is handling his sales and his books, and they're still available. And so I learned this shuffle, which is just a cool thing to do on the ukulele. Like if you're playing blues at all, learn every shuffle if you can. So the C one is very simple. It's just C. There's 4 positions here. There's 4 different chords. And I'll show you on the screen here that you're just doing C, and then you're adding your index finger to 2, and you add your middle to 3, and index back to 2. Open, C, 2, 3, 2. So really, I'm just playing the G string. This is actually a chord melody in itself. Dun 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 dun. And if you're a fan of schmuting or muting, you can do. It sounds really cool if you mute every single note or every other note. kind of cool. That's a shuffle. You do the same thing with the F. You could take a normal F and actually do it. So I want to show that first. F, and then add your ring finger to 2. Kick out your ring finger to 3. Middle finger back, or ring finger back to 2. It's kind of like doing a D minor. It's like F, D minor, F7, D minor. So you can do that as a shuffle. And in this song, I'm actually leaving my pinky because the pinky is the melody of the song. So I have to do 2 at the same time. So see, I'm holding that F. I'm holding my pinky. Ring, kick, and back. And that's that second diagram right here. That's what it is in the tab. And other than knowing that, I just need my big G7, which we talked about, and a little F7, which is a bar on 5 and 6. So I'm going to go 5, 3, 5, and then bar 6. And right there, I'm doing it with my ring finger. You could choose. Okay, put that all together, and you get chord melody magic. For my schmuting fans, there's a couple of schmutes to do. C, C. And I like this because it allows you, like I mentioned before, sometimes when you're doing chord melody, it's hard to handle the melody and the chords at the same time to make it sound good. So sometimes you just stop the chords. You just go. And then you get to do whatever you want. So that's actually what this song is doing, is I'm playing the melody and I'm just kind of adding the chords at the end. Makes for a nice, it's kind of a nice way to go about doing the arrangement. It's just chord and then melody, 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 and then chord again. Yeah. So that is Hound Dog, and if we had time, we would go over the melody and then the chords, but we don't. We're running out of time. So I will play it for you really slowly, and that will be your homework for today, is to see how to do this. And at the end, there's a cool part where you go with the C chord at the very end here. C. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. And you could end, if you want, with the 5 too. All right, here's Hound Dog. We'll take it nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and go. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, shuffle. And then hit, 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 hit. Shuffle. Hit. Shuffle F. Hit, hit. And then here's big G7. F7. Yeah, try it again. 6, 6. So fast. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so that's a little chord melody, just kind of the tip of the iceberg there, but hopefully enough to get you going. I also included, kind of related and not related to this packet, but every time I teach chord melody, I give my students these 2 songs, La Vie en Rose. I give everybody this song because it's very much chord and then melody, like I said. So this is actually way easier than what we were really talking about today, because you do the chord, ba 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 ba, chord. It's pretty easy. So it's a good one to try some of these different chords that you haven't held before. And again, you would approach it trying to look at the stacks and saying, I've never seen 5-4-5 before. I've never seen these two chords. How do I do it? Okay, got it. So then when I get there, I'm not worried about that chord. Levian Rose is great. Canon in C is a classical tune, and I really like this because it forces you to play in rhythm. A lot of us don't have good rhythm, myself included, and this kind of forces you to just keep that rhythm steady. And here come the cool chords. Here's 0037. Oh, yeah. And then you'll go on. I'll play you four lines of this because this is great. And now this is where you get the big bucks. And so on. So that's something that you would want to practice. Again, the melody separately. You'd want to play the melody separately for this part. And then you'd want to go to the, adding the chords afterwards. And so Canon C is a very good study. Like, I've had just so many students who have learned so much from going through the process of learning this one simple song. And then this is just an arrangement. I probably took the idea from somebody else that I saw on YouTube and just made my own arrangement here. And my last one and my most recent chord melody kind of exploration has been on the song I Can See Clearly Now. So I did a live tutorial of this on my Facebook, and I did the whole song pretty much, and I also recorded it to YouTube. And there are those two G7s. Yeah. So you can go through these tunes to kind of start you off. And yes, Bruce says a lifetime of learning. It really is. It really is. And I think the more you travel through chord melody and kind of shuffle through some of this stuff, you will get so much out of each piece that you learn. Like, you want to be like a good journalist. You want to collect as you go. You want to take records of what you're learning and make sure that if you have a good chord that you find in someone's chord melody, like, write it down. Like, ooh, I'm going to use that for something else. And most people do put the chords on top of their arrangements. Some people don't. You could figure out the chords that they're playing to or you could ask a friend. What is a 7-8-9-8? What is that chord? You could go online and they would give you a bunch of answers. But be a good record taker. That's just music in general. If you want to be a good artist, you learn from the other artists and you pick up what you like, and those become your influences. Because you're not going to sound like me, even if you learn from me. You're going to sound like you, and that's good. So that is the end of my TED Talk for today. Thank you, everybody in the Zoom room. Hit that unmute button and give a hand for yourselves and your fellow peers for playing and sticking in with chord melodies today. Nice job all around.
Thank you, Lenny.
Oh, thank you all so much.
Lenny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I saw in the chat, shout out to my friend Brian Liu, who also does chord charts. And so, like, check out that on YouTube. And I guess you're saying it disappeared. I wonder where that stuff went. But Brian Liu is a great resource, and also my fellow friend ukulele player in the Bay Area. And we do some collabs together as well. So we should do more of that this summer. But what I wanted to do really quick is just give you kind of a rundown of my week. And I know I like broke my little section of the internet. I didn't break the internet, but everyone's like, farewell tour, where are you going? I'm not going anywhere, folks. I did post that I have a farewell tour this week. I'm saying farewell to my keyboard. I'm gonna step away from my keyboard for just a couple of, I don't know, days, weeks. I also have a trip to Hawaii in the next 2 weeks. Be collabing with U3, so that's going to be happening very shortly. You'll see some announcements about that. So I figured since I'm going in July, I might as well take this hiatus to refresh and also just to plan my next move. As I said at the beginning of the program, like doing all the virtual stuff that I was doing, plus even one in-person event is just like I needed like 9 hours of sleep after the next day. So it's like pretty crazy to think that we're so used to doing, like we're staying at home, we got the virtual. It's like I could do lots of virtual events because I'm just like, hi, bye, turn it off, turn it back on. Hi, everybody. Like it's so different than when you have to pack up for a gig and do all that stuff. And that being said, we got our quote unquote last Aloha Friday Jam. Don't worry, it's not the last one, but it's the last one for now. Last one on the schedule. And that's happening Friday. We'll just play some classics. We'll kick it. We'll have a good time. Saturday, I'm at Noelani's live. So if you're in the Bay Area, Noelani's is my favorite place. I try to be pretty facetious about my flyer. I was like, Noelani's, Saturday, food. I'm eating. And I'm also playing. Like, I just go there for the food. So go get some hurricane fries. Go get the kaka'ako nachos from Noelani's. Reservations are highly encouraged, and that will happen this Saturday at 5:30. I'm filling in for my good friend, Steven Espanola. So he's doing something on Saturday. He's usually the resident performer there with Rick Rasai, and I get to fill in and be back at Noelani's. I want to do more at Noelani's for sure. This Monday, not on my schedule yet, but in my email, is we are doing a little Zoom party. So normally we'll have a workshop on Monday, but since it's the last one, hugs everywhere, I just wanted to kick it with y'all one more time and debut only on Zoom the Love Train Flash Mob. So thank you, those of you who have participated in the Love Train Flash Mob. We will be doing that Monday night. I'll just show off the video. And I sent it to Craig and Sarah. We'll see if they accept. I think it was pretty good. I was a day late in the deadline they gave me, but I was like, come on, please. Like, they work so hard. So hopefully we get our screen time on the Hawaii Ukulele Festival. I think y'all deserve it. Those of you who have submitted and those of you who have been working on this song for the past 2 months deserve it. And yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, Brian Liu is with a L-I-U. So Brian Liu, Brian Teaches Music on YouTube. So youtube.com/Brian Teaches Music. Yeah, youtube.com/Brian Teaches Music. He didn't disappear. He just did a rebranding. So he's still around, and he actually helped me with the last Mixed Life class, and he is great. He's awesome. And so do check out his videos, and I'll have more, knock on wood, in the next couple of months. Maybe some stuff on YouTube for myself. That's also part of the plan. And finally, as I've been saying since January, finishing Albany Uke Jam 3. So at some point, I'm going to finish this dang book and get it out to the people. All right, thanks everybody for hanging out with me on YouTube and on Zoom. Shout out to my Zoomers over here. Everybody on YouTube, thank you so much. Take care. I guess Aurelia's going to say bye, so I guess we got to keep it 100 here.
Jamming. Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lenny.
Thank y'all. We'll see you Friday.
Thank you.
Jamming.
So sweet.
Jamming. Bye, y'all. Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
Jamming.
All right. And everybody on YouTube as well, thank you for tuning in and saying hello. I haven't abandoned you on YouTube. I'm just, kind of lazy. So hopefully we'll get some more YouTube videos out. Thank you for coming to this live stream today. If you want to stay connected, make sure to sign up to the Shaka Bra. Make sure to sign up to the mailing list, tinyurl.com/ukulenny mail. And shout out to my sponsors, Color Brand Music. Also, my new sponsor, Neotech Straps. Yeah. And stay tuned. More to come. Bye. Yeah, you remember our camping? It's our tent. We should turn off the fire, huh?